Welcome Dr. Lachenmann from the University of Bielefeld. The Crossroads Asia Competence Network has a so-called post-area study approach. You are a sociologist by training, and along you're expert on Africa and gender issues. So can you explain to us where lies the main difference between the classical area studies and the new approach?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I think the new approach is just emerging, and that's what we are discussing about. I would say these new ideas of not conceiving region as a closed entity, but really as a part of in globalization processes. I think this certain kind of delegitimization of the former concept of region and regionalization came because of global processes became so dominant as a factor to look at. And now these new forms of regionalization interact with other regions. They are looking at the changing boundaries of regions and interacting between states, between organizations, between whoever. And yeah, I think that's the main thing. And how the regional knowledge, which has been collected and which is very rich in all countries, about all countries, needs to be fed into globalization debates. That's absolutely necessary. We cannot just theoretically talk about globalization and what it means, either it's good or bad or whatever. Yeah, I think that's the new approach, and certainly different institutions will look at it from a different point of view. Here they combine it with a theoretical mid-term approach. Maybe it will be fruitful, I think so.
You've been an Africa expert for quite a long time. Which methods and insights from your research in Africa could be translated to a complete different regional and cultural setting, such as Asia and Central Asia, which is the focus of Crossroads Asia Network?
I think that was typical of our former understanding of regional studies, that we should not apply whatever concept we have developed for one region to another. This was really the bad thing to do. We really did case studies of one country maximum or one region, but not comparing with the rest of the world. But in the meantime, well, I personally think the interesting thing is now this networking between the regions, or the global networking. This can be in very diverse forms. And there have been in different institutions in Germany and elsewhere, for example, about the trading networks from Africa to Asia, or going through Europe, or even in history, the slave trades and so on, that we have been looking at the real relations and ties between different sites or different regions or whatever. But I think it's very, very important still to do case study, so-called extended case study. So we can compare different case studies, but directly say, I compare now one village in Africa, in Senegal, with one village in Malaysia. I think that's not very useful. But the relations and the social networks which are created, we call it social spaces which are created, that's very useful. And this methodological approach is really according to situation, but very useful. For example, there are theories about popular politics, they call it. It was developed in Cameroon by a political anthropologist, I think he would call himself, but yeah, about popular modes of political action. This would be a term which would absolutely fit in an Indian situation. I have supervised some PhDs on India or Malaysia, and this would absolutely be applicable. And we can see certain differences and see, for example, this religion, Islam, there we can, to a certain extent, compare maybe what kind of Islamic thinking exists in Malaysia, a big or in Indonesia, big Muslim country, versus Egypt and so on. But the interesting thing are the Islamic women associations, for example, across regions, across even, well, not the whole world, but quite big parts of it.
Okay, in fact, you already explained a bit what competence networks can do, can contribute to science and research in order frame of doing your research. To go a step further, how can we bring these new insights and this new concept into public debate or into society?
Well, I think a conference like this one here, which brings together people mainly from the old region of Asia, but from different disciplines, and that's not always the case. That's very important. And when people come to this afternoon, we will have a talk on Latin America. So there is more exchange, and we call this kind of network would be an epistemic community, meaning talking about the same things or negotiating meaning, we say, of certain concepts and where to strategize. And of course there are other networks or other institutions in Germany and elsewhere. We have these translocal relations. People coming automatically from England or further away. So I think that's a very important thing beyond one institution, to have a network and bring in different ideas and from different disciplines. I think that's important.
Okay, thanks a lot for the interview.
Thank you.
Das müssen wir aber übrigens. Also Ihre Farben passen übrigens sehr gut zu den Dingen dahinter.